Well, yes, the Dailies is where we are next right here on Viewpoint. And for review today, as always, we have 5 papers. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian, These Days, and definitely The Nation. Well, let's see what seems to be happening on The Nation. But The Punch is where we're starting right there. And the leading story on The Punch this morning, Afenifere, northern leaders demand state police, or rather state police amid delays. And right after that, federal government defense delays, security reforms undergoing due process, framework with states, and Afenifere, Middlebelt Forum and Pan Niger Delta insist state policing overdue. Northern leaders press for action. But you can get more of that action on page 2 of The Punch. Let's quickly go to the topmost side of The Punch this morning. Jonathan blames betrayal for 2015 election loss. It's a major one on page 12. Oshun Algon, challenges CBN over local government account signatories. And you can get more of that story also on page 2. A new party seeking INEC registration surged to 171. Wow. It's a major story on page 3. Federal government seeks fresh $1.75 billion World Bank loan. And page 15 has that story. I know the critics will come out against the government, knowing that they said we're done borrowing from domestic point, but looks as if we're going for international lenders. But anyway, that's the much you can take right there on the top mass of The Punch. Let's see if we have some other major stories just beneath the picture of the day. And indeed, a lot seems to be there. Train derailment sparks NRC, that's Nigerian Railway Corporation reorganization. And organize yourself with that on page 15. Panic as 5 bodies found along Lagos River bank. It's a sad story on page 4 and 5. CBT, WAEC mandates 250 computers, CCTV for schools. It's another one on page 23. But the picture of the day is just that of celebration at different countries, Iran, Egypt, and Yemen, and Palestine, during yesterday's celebration of the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And that's the much you can take right there on The Punch.
Yeah, let's see what The Nation has for us this morning. The major story here reads, Nigerian politics full of liars, betrayers, says Jonathan. And the writer says it's difficult to see somebody who will say the same thing in the morning and in the evening. That's a lot.
A lot of words coming from front of
All right, so that's you can read that full story on page 2 of The Nation newspaper. Let's see, just at the top of the top story, military steps of battle against terrorists to secure farmers. Page 3 has more of that story. Yes, Tinubu meets Ibas ahead. Tinubu meets Ibas ahead end to Rivers emergency rule. And the writer says, President off to France, UK on 10-day working vacation. Well, that story is on page 2 of The Nation newspaper. Let's see what the top mass has for us. Federal government weighs funding options for health sector. That is on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. Local contractors to receive payments from Monday. Wow, that's on page 4. Shetima, president committed to a diversification of economy. That's on page 4. Council workers donate 10 million naira for Oyebanji's re-election. That's on page 3. Let's see if what we have on the bottom mass. Yeah, Olawepo Hashim support groups resurrecting PDP zoning regressive. I will contest for president. That's the writer to the story. And it's on page 2 of the paper. Italian fashion designer Giorgio Armani dies at 91. Wow. Well, it's a fulfilled life, I can see.
Yeah, and I know he made a whole lot of lovely clothes in life.
Exactly.
He'll be remembered for.
Yeah. So that's on page 4 of The Nation newspaper. Troops foiled 545.8 million naira oil theft. That's on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. So the picture of the day is that of a farewell scene at the airport with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and several officials before his foreign trip. Well, that's all we're taking on The Nation this morning. Let's see what the Guardian has for us this morning. The major story here reads, how bias for sports entertainment reinforces school na scam myth. Well, that story is also the major picture of the day, and it's a big story on pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's go to the top mass. Tinubu embarks on 10-day working vacation in Europe, and that's on page 3 of the paper. 80 million Nigerian youths jobless, 1,500 schools shut in 2 years, says reports. That's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. World Health Organization, African Union taxed Nigeria on 2001 declaration, a 20% public health spending. Well, that's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's go to the bottom mass. A police summon El-Rufai ADC leaders for alleged conspiracy. That's on page 6 of the papers. Retired soldiers protest lacks merit, defense headquarters insists. Well, that's on page 28 of the Guardian newspaper. ADC Audu Obi faults Tinubu's fiscal triumphs as cruelty over compassion. That's on page 6 of the paper. Oshun Association of Local Governments of Nigeria accuses the Central Bank of Nigeria of sabotaging the local government payments. Well, that's on page 7 of the paper. 70% of telecom downtime linked to energy issues. Well, that's a business story on page 18 of the Guardian newspaper. So that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian. Let's see what this day has for us today. The major story here reads, Jonathan, Nigerian politics is full of traitors and liars. The writer says they will tell you something. The next hour they are saying another. Says he has witnessed a lot of betrayals. I think most of the papers this morning covered this.
To be screaming out loud.
Yeah, so
and it's more like in preparation of whether he will definitely come as a PDP candidate for the presidency in 2027.
Well, that's on page 10 if you want to know more about that story. Yes, just slightly above the top story, police summon ex-Kaduna governor El-Rufai others for disturbance of public peace. That's on page 10 of this day newspaper. Let's go to the top mass. CBN replacing civil servants with APC members as local government's account signatories, says Oshun Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. The writer says demands urgent investigation. Well, to read more of that story, you have to go on page 10 of this day newspaper. Giorgio Armani, iconic Italian fashion designer, dies at 91. That's on page 6 of this day newspaper. Let's see if we have more. Yes, Tinubu departs Abuja for 10-day working leave in Europe, and that's on page 10 of this day newspaper. Let's see what we have for the picture of the day. That's more of a formal meeting at the World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, yesterday. So that's all we're taking this morning on this day newspaper. Up next is the Vanguard.
And on the Vanguard, opposition mounts against federal government 5% tax on petrol and diesel. Right after that, stakeholders push against Tinubu 5% fuel tax. Will mobilize Nigerians against it. JAF vows why Tinubu 5% fuel tax should wait, says Peter Obi. 5% petrol tax, a cruel burden on struggling Nigerians, says the ADC. But I'll say you go read that story up on page 5. And remember, we might just trend it later on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, police, let's see if we go to the top mass side of the Vanguard this morning. Police invite El-Rufai ADC leaders over alleged conspiracy incitement. It's a major one on page 8. And we will not allow APC win 2027 polls. Ambassador Yisa is screaming out that loud on page 14. Oshun local government crisis Argon, APC disagree over signatories to account with CBN. It's another major one on page 10. Federal government makes tax identification mandatory for banking and allied service. It's a major one on page 19. But let's see if we see if we can take some other majors, but just beneath the picture of the day. Well, definitely we'll go. And the major screamer right there is 2027 restructuring zoning is regressive, and Hassan supports group. And one of consequences as Hassan vows to contest presidency. And well, I'll just implore you to take more of that story on page, well, that should be page 27, sorry, rather. And talking sports, Super Eagles focused on Amalvabi, not Bafana. And Ekong seems to be telling us that, but I just hope they do so. And let's see how I can qualify. But I'm now qualified to take the picture of the day. And that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he departs for his annual leave. Yesterday, well, do forgive my laugh because, well, anyway, do we have leave? But anyway, you can see some major dignitaries right there, like that of the finance minister and also the secretary to the government of the federation and our governor, someone who yesterday when they went to tell Baba, bye-bye, I will see you later. But anyway, that's the much you can take from the Vanguard and also all the papers. What we'll do now is employ you to go grab a copy of any that fancies your interest, read up and get abreast with what seems to be happening. But what I know is happening, you're still right here on Viewpoint, and dialogue will be next right here on Viewpoint.